You are listening to an exclusive interview on Bass Musician Magazine. The interview starts now.
Hey everybody, this is Raul for Bass Musician Magazine, and today we have the great honor and pleasure of chatting with percussionist Silvestre Martinez. You're probably going, hey, why are you talking to a percussionist? Well, Silvestre has a new CD, and Silvestre and I go back a little bit. I did a review on one of his CDs, Heritage, in 2010. It was an exquisite piece of music. Silvestre is from Oaxaca, Mexico, which is the west coast of Mexico. My background with Latin music is from Puerto Rico, and I was very amazed to see how the music had carried and the similarities in the musical composition and everything that there was all the way from Oaxaca to Puerto Rico and so forth. So we're happy to get together on the light that now Silvestre has a new CD titled Vengo de la Costa, which means I come from the coast. Our cunning plan today was to have, in addition to Silvestre, compatriota from Puerto Rico, Aldemar Valentin, with us in today's discussion. Something apparently came up, so he can't be here. So Silvestre is going to carry the weight because us bass players and the percussion work so closely together. I'm sure this will be just fine. Silvestre, so great to have you on. Tell us a little bit about your musical background. I know you come from a musical family. You started very young.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, thank you for having me. Hi to all the bass players around the world. I'm from Mexico, but I come from the coast of Mexico in the Pacific Ocean, a town called Puerto Angel. I grew up with a large family of musicians. All my uncles, aunts, like even my dad. He used to play congas. He used to play percussion, and he's the one that introduced me to music. And also, my uncle Esteban Martinez Garcia, he's a guitar player. He played keyboard too, accordion, bass. He sings. My God, he's multi-talented musician. So, and he also introduced me to music. I was just like in concerts. I have a padrino, godfather. His name is Fernando Amaya, and he also, thanks to him, I like music, and I discover great music from Cuba. So yeah, there's many influence in my life. Like I have, and he lives now in San Diego, but he was my first teacher, percussion teacher, Charlie Chavez. He also introduced me to all this music from Mongo Santa Maria, all these great conga players, Poncho Sanchez, Giovanni Hidalgo. And I was getting, that was kind of like new to me. But in the coast where I come from, we have also African roots, There's like La Tercera Raíz, the third root, and in Oaxaca and Guerrero, in the coast, those two states, they share the same music, which is Chilena, Merquetengue, and then that's like a 6/8 feel. In my first album, Heritage, I play mostly Latin jazz, but then there's like two songs, El Feo, track number 3, El Feo, where I have my special guest, Antonio Sanchez on drums. That song, El Feo, is a song from a region from Oaxaca. It's called El Istmo. That's a beautiful region. They have beautiful music too. So that song, it comes from that place, this famous composer there. So then I had El Andariego, that is from Álvaro Carrillo. I'm sure everybody knows Sabor a Mi. Mm-hmm. So that song was written by Álvaro Carrillo. So this guy has a lot of songs that many people don't know. So El Andariego was released in 2010, and Sabrá Dios, that's another one. Sabrá Dios, this is a nice bolero. It's by Álvaro Carrillo as well. And now I just released this new album, Vengo de la Costa, where I'm trying to place my music, I'm trying to open like a new style of music with using some of the instruments from the coast of Oaxaca and combining with a little jazz, so have like a new voice, right, in the Latin jazz scene.
I notice a big difference between the two CDs, where I do find that in your new CD, Vengo de la Costa, it is pushing more of a progressive approach compared to a more traditional approach with Heritage. There are some, with jazz, some dissonant approaches, which I know are on purpose, but it's funny because when you hear fusion, and a lot of jazz, they'll do dissonant things, but they're written that way. You know, it is.
Yeah.
So it's you're going, wait, oh, that's not quite, but it's on purpose, you know, and
Yeah.
it's one of the things that's very different as compared to a more traditional approach. There is still that native element that shows through from the roots from before with your percussion from Oaxaca, from all of that still shine through. But this is pushing the envelope towards something kind of new. And it's fascinating because the musical influences in Latin America, you have so many things that can contribute. I think probably many people don't realize how big Mexico is. It's very large. And when you see that historically people came from the old world, you had the Spanish influence, you have the indigenous roots, you have how everybody moved around. For a period of time, the French were occupying Mexico, and they brought with them more European instruments. The norteño, every time I hear the tubas and stuff, I go, oh, this is like, they sound like a German band.
Right, yeah.
And
that has influence.
And sousaphones, these totally different bits of music that are tying in. So it's very interesting when we see the evolution of this music, where sometimes performers will choose to go a more traditional route, and then as time goes by, they go, I'm going to push it a little bit, and I'm going to take it in a new direction and see what happens. So with that, though, also the influences of the world, let's tie in. How did you get Aldemar? Because Aldemar is from Puerto Rico, and Oaxaca is far away from Puerto Rico. How did you end up getting Aldemar involved with this project?
Yeah, I knew who Aldemar was. You know, I actually, I know friends here, musicians friends in the Bay Area. By the way, I live in the Bay Area in San Francisco. I know great musicians here that they know Aldemar. And they always were talking to me about this great bass player, Aldemar, right? Was like, yeah, I know him. I mean, because, you know, I hear him playing in other albums, right? So like Power Mejia's first album, Mi Tambor, that's Aldemar on bass, right? When I hear the bass with the pedal, with the octave, right? I was like, so like, oh my God, that sounds so good. That sounds amazing. I like it. And I was planning on doing my second album, and I have friends in Jalapa, Veracruz. And it happens that Aldemar he lives there in Mexico now. He lives in Jalapa, Veracruz.
Ah.
So he's teaching in a school over there. Then my friend, they told me, well, if you're planning to come here to record in Mexico, here's Aldemar, you know, he lives here. So I was like, oh my God, really? So then I got in contact with him, and he agreed to, you know, to record the album. Then I start sending the music. Then I went there and I met Aldemar. We had a couple of rehearsals. Then we went to the studio and we start recording, you know.
We should probably mention, in addition, because it wasn't just you and Aldemar, you have other musicians that participated on your CD.
Yeah.
Tell us about them.
Yeah, I have Alonso Blanco on piano. He's like an incredible piano player. He's from Veracruz. Alonso Blanco on piano. I have Aldemar Martinez on saxophone. He's from Oaxaca, actually. He's an amazing sax player. I have Renato Dominguez on drums, another great, amazing musician. I have, obviously, Aldemar. And then I have Mike Perez on keyboard in one song. He's from Oaxaca, too. He's a good friend. I have two friends here. One is Camilo Landau. He plays guitar. He's in 3 songs. Then I have a friend here. She's a singer, so she did some background vocals for me. So, yeah, Viridiana Murataya. Yeah. All my friends are in this album. So
that's great.
It's nice, you know, to have them. Yeah.
As we move forward, it's been since 2010 since I saw your last album. What's coming next? I know that you just released this, but what plans do you have for the future?
I'm working right now in new stuff. I'm always like doing something. My plan is to release a song that I wrote a song with lyrics. I'm just doing the music, but that's my plan, to release a single first. Then I will release hopefully like the whole album, you know, in some point. But that's what my plan is. Just keep, you know, working in music and try to move this album, you know, like
sure.
Hopefully we'll get somewhere, you know. So yeah, that's the plan.
Well, folks, it's one of those things. If you want to know more about Vengo de la Costa and Silvestre Martinez, the best place to look is silvestremartinez.net. Can they get your CD from through there? Is that a good way to go?
I think the best way to get the album is in iTunes. You know, if you go to iTunes, you can download the CD, or you can go to CD Baby. And if you want the physical CD, you can ask them, you know, to send you the physical CD or downloads too, you know,
Sure.
or Amazon or other stores online, you know. It's not in Spotify, though. It's not streaming, so it's just like downloads in the store.
Well, I appreciate you taking time from a busy schedule. It's too bad that Aldemar couldn't be with us today, but everybody knows he really did a great job on this CD, and it's certainly another credit to a very strong bass player. I always enjoy listening to the música latina, the Latin music, and see how it is progressing and evolving over time, because right now we are living growth and things change. Whereas in the past, I think a lot of times before we had the internet and we had a big flow of information, the growth was a lot slower. Now it's like all over the place. And I was even commenting to Silvestre here that I remember a group that was playing salsa from Japan. They don't even speak Spanish. It was Orquesta de la Luz. They sang phonetically because Spanish is a very phonetic language, but they loved the Latin groove and the way this was, and it's something that I think every musician should be exposed to, because the rhythms are so different, the tempos are so rich. What is very interesting as well is that many times when you listen to music from another part of the world, you'll recognize something that may be the tempo and it's familiar, but somebody will call it something else. And I find this especially with the African musicians, that I listen to something that maybe you did, and then I listen to something they did, and I find it's got the same tempo, and they go, "Oh, we call this thing," and you go, "Wow, you're in West Africa, and here's Silvestre on the Western Mexican coast, and it's the same tempo, and we're calling it different things." And so it's a very interesting thing to watch and progress. So I appreciate you sharing your music with us, people. Vengo de la Costa, check it out, listen to the music, pushing the limits on Latin music and progressive jazz. So thanks again. You've seen him here, Silvestre Martinez, coming to you live, Bass Musician Magazine.
Thanks for basing out with us here on bassmusicianmagazine.com.